It was warm last night, and I was laying there. I couldn't sleep. I was just staring at the ceiling, just pondering, just thinking about things. And something that occurred to me last night is that I feel like nowadays I'm very quick to just skip to a destination. And I don't mean just in games. I mean in general, in a lot of different areas in my life. I was thinking about how I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV online for about 13 years now. And so for those that haven't played Final Fantasy XIV online, the game does actually have a linear campaign, like a main scenario story, that it plays throughout the entire game. And the idea is that you start off as just a humble adventurer, you've kind of come from nowhere, and it's like this zero to hero style story. And every time expansion would come out, and even the base story when I first started, I just skipped the quests, and I'm not really sure why. I think it's because I just wanted to get to the end game content, to join my friends. Maybe it's because I just didn't really have the patience for the story. I couldn't really get into it. And every time an expansion would come out, it was just this hurdle, I just had to do this story quest as quickly as possible to get to the end game content so I could do stuff with my friends. And my partner, she's obsessed with the game, and she's always talked about the story and how much she enjoyed it. And it got me thinking, I was like, why didn't I just do these quests? Like, why didn't I read these quests? Why didn't I just enjoy the game? I mean, it's not really fair to say I did enjoy the game, but like, it was such a big part of the game. Like, why didn't I take time to just enjoy that? So I approached my partner at some point. I mean, I guess she must like me, because I asked her, like, hey, do you wanna like start all over again? And she was like, yeah, sure, I'll go back and create a new character for you and spend 600 hours redoing all the story quests. I guess because she's a bit of a masochist. I don't know, but... And we went back and we started doing these quests. And even then, like, I was doing these quests and I was enjoying myself. I was reading them. I was paying attention to these quests to the point where my wife was actually even writing down like little what's the word, like descriptions, I suppose, of the different patches that we had done, like the different parts of the story. Every time we did like a new chapter, essentially she would write a description so I can go back and I could revisit it and kind of bring myself up to speed in case I forgot, because there's so much. And granted, this was a big undertaking, especially when I already struggled with that kind of thing. I struggled with doing like story quests. But even though I was enjoying the story and I was several hundred hours deep into doing these story quests, I still found myself like going to the wiki and looking up how many quests are left in this expansion, like this part of the story, like how much more do I need to do until it's finished, right? Because I was looking to finish it, and then I had to sort of stop myself, like, no, no, you're not there to get to the end of it, right? Because the way I was looking at it, I was like, I don't imagine, okay, maybe there are people out there that do this, but I don't imagine that people read a good book and they're like, yes, I can't wait to get to the end of this book. I think a lot of people actually get close to the end of the book and they're like, damn, man, like, I wish this book was bigger. I wish there was more to this book. Most people are probably looking up the next book, like, is there a book 2, because I need more. But it wasn't like that for me. I was just looking at these chapters in the wiki, and I was just like, yes, I need to finish this so I can tick it off and be like, I've done it, like it's done. So I felt like there were a few things I had to change. I either had to change my perspective, I had to change the way I looked at the story quests, or I had to confront the idea that essentially I didn't like the story, and I didn't like the game, or maybe I just didn't like, I don't know, like just the pacing, or obviously there was something that I mustn't have been enjoying if that's how I felt about it. But I was confident that I didn't feel like that. I was confident that I was enjoying it, and that I wanted to keep going, and I just wanted to enjoy the story in the moment. And I did, and I got to the end of those. I actually did finish the story quests, and I read every single quest. We kind of treated it almost like a diary in a way. We would take pictures and we would keep track of where we were in the story, and I had a lot of fun. And I'm very grateful to her for doing that with me, because I feel like that's changed my outlook on so many different games now. In fact, when I play new games, I'm kind of looking at the story. I'm like, okay, what is the story like? Is there a story I can play through? Are there any quests here that I can actually read and get into? And I mean, that was obviously in a game, but then I noticed it was creeping up in my studies as well, because I'm a programmer, and back in, I think it was around 2019 when obviously lockdown hit, I decided that I wanted to do something different with my life, and I decided that with the tech boom back then and all of these hype videos on YouTube, that maybe I could teach myself to code. And so off I went, and I found these courses and all these different resources, and I was adamant that I was going to learn how to code. And I was doing this course online, and it was quite a difficult course because it was an open source course. It was made by a very large community, and the idea behind this course was essentially it would drop you in. You'd have all these different like projects you could work on. It basically laid out a path, but you had to put in the work yourself. It didn't really hold your hand. It didn't really guide you in any way. It was more like this is what I want you to do, and you're going to go off and do it. And at some point I got stuck. But I mean, I got really stuck, and I was just staring at my screen, and I was just wondering, how am I even going to start this? Where is my starting position? Who can I speak to? And I remember there was a Discord, and they encouraged people to actually go onto the Discord server and to ask people how to get started. So I went onto the Discord, and I popped my chat in. Sorry, I popped my message into chat. And my question was very broad. I wasn't really sure how to phrase my question, because how do I ask someone, hey, like, how do I even make a start on this project? Like, so I decided to ask, what was my question? Okay, my question was something like, is it okay to go off and like find a YouTube video, or maybe just copy something and then maybe copy some code and then try to recreate it, or like, how can I just finish this project? Because that's ultimately what it came down to. I convinced myself that if I could just finish all these projects, and obviously I'd come out of this course a programmer, right? Or just a much better coder. And this guy replied to me, and I think he was actually like one of the moderators or something. And man, he hit me with was it a red pill? I think, is it red pill? I can't remember. Anyway, he hit me with a truth bomb. And he was like, yeah, but why are you doing this course? I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, are you here to just finish the project, or are you here to learn something from that project, to take something away from it? I was like, damn, man. I was like, wow, okay. So I was so set on just the idea of finishing this project that I'd forgotten the entire point of the project, which was that obviously, and again, to some of you this probably sounds obvious, right? I mean, it wasn't to me back then. I was just so sure that code wouldn't be as difficult as it was, and that I would finish these projects, and I would just blast through this course project by project, and eventually come out a programmer. And my God, I've never been so wrong. I find coding quite difficult. I still find it quite difficult. I'm still dealing with the idea that you don't really stop learning in programming. There's always something new to learn, and you're always sort of playing catch up. So I have to keep reminding myself that whatever I do, I should take something away from it. Sometimes I think we just need to stop and just take a look around us. So maybe one of you guys set a goal recently, maybe you're working towards something, maybe you have a destination in mind for something that you're doing. Just take a moment to appreciate where you are. Remember where you came from, remember why you're doing it. But don't miss out on the good bits because you're too set on getting to where you want to be.